Okay, that is perfect. I'm really happy for everybody joining us this afternoon, for Professor Dembele to join us today from, I'm really hope, like my French is really not good, so the University Gestion de Bamako, is that anywhere near the way it should be pronounced? I'm really sorry if I'm not doing right. From Mali, who's joining us today, and I'm really happy that you're giving a presentation on the seismicity of the Western African Craton. So I'm really excited about this talk, and I would, with that, just hand over to you to give your presentation, if that's okay.
That's okay.
Perfect, there you go.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you to Stephanie and Gosling for giving me the opportunity to present some of the researches I'm doing now in Mali. You said it right, it's Mali, Bamako. The topic I'm going to talk about today is evidence of recent seismicity in the West African Craton, the Bamako seismic in Mali. And I would like to introduce myself. My name is dit Jacques Dembele. I'm a quaternary geologist in Mali, and I'm associate professor at the Faculty of History and Geography, Université des Sciences Sociales et de Gestion de Bamako. And I want also to say that I graduated from China University of Geoscience in Wuhan, China, and I came back in Mali in 2013, and since then I've been working on Quaternary deposits in Bamako and in Mali. The outline of my presentation will be like this. First, I will have an introduction of the topic. And second, I will talk about the geological setting. And third, I will introduce the history of the discovery and the objectives of this research. And I will try to give the methods that we use during the research and also talk about the results. And I will conclude. The first seismites are sedimentary bed and structures that are deformed by seismic shaking. And usually, when we talk about sedimentary beds in Quaternary, we are talking about soft sediment because Quaternary sediments are usually non-consolidated deposits from different origin, like alteration and fluvial deposits, lacustrine deposit, and so on. And soft sediment deformation are known in the geological literature as deformation that can happen in Quaternary deposits. And there are many papers that have been published on this topic. And the main deformation structure that we can find in the literature are clastic dike, faults and microfaults, fold, convolution lamination, flam structures, ball and pillow structures. And this kind of deformation have many origins, but mainly they are from seismic activity, and they can be proof and evidence of tectonic activity of an area. And usually, some of these evidences, like clastic dike, can be used to give the intensity of earthquake shocks. And usually they occur when the earthquakes are over M5. And also they can be used to deduce the direction of propagation of seismic waves. And usually the direction of seismic waves are parallel to the clastic dike. And also we know that when they occur, usually the epicenter of the earthquake is usually in a circle of 20 kilometers. So the diameter from the clastic dike to the earthquake epicenter is usually 20 kilometers. We know also that faults can form in the direction of the waves. About the geological setting, Mali is in West Africa and is the capital city of Mali. And Bamako is in West Africa and is the capital city of Mali and is located geologically on the West African Craton. And usually in the geological literature and the geological knowledge, we believe that Cratons usually are tectonically stable. So therefore, we think that there are no earthquake events that can be recorded on Cratons. And West African Cratons is supposed to be also tectonically stable. And the area of Bamako is composed mainly of crystalline rocks that are the basement, and above the crystalline rocks we have sandstones, and we have two groups of sandstone in Bamako. The first one is called the Sotiba sandstone, and the second one is called the Kuluba sandstone formation. And also we have some dolorite intrusion that can be found in a part of the city that is called the Sea of Sotiba. I will show you all of these formation on the geological map. And also above all those sandstone, we can have Quaternary alluvium that are composed of two main layers. We found that we have in Bamako two main layers of Quaternary deposit, and we have first a fluvial deposit above a lacustrine deposit. That means that before the Niger River, Bamako city was a lake, a paleo-lake has been formed in Bamako, and we have discovered that during our research. Technologically, we have many faults and fractures in Bamako that can be seen on the map that I will show you. This is the map of the West African Craton, and we can see Bamako is right here in the center of the West African Craton. This is the Google Maps capture of the city. Bamako is crossed by the Niger River. The Niger River flows from west to east and crosses the city. And also the evidences I'm going to show were recorded near the bank of the Niger River, just in the southern part of the bank that you can see in the map. I apologize because some of the, on the map, some of the writings are in French, because in Mali we speak French, and I have used it before for a presentation, so I just use the map here. And here we can see the Niger River running from southwest to northeast, and with the different fractures and the lineation that we have in the city. Those are the main quaternary deposits that we have discovered. The first one is a very big deposit, mainly lacustrine deposit of about 70 meters that we are trying to analyze. And we did some kind of dating of this stratigraphic profile. And we found that the basement of this profile is about 1.2 million years. And in the right, you can see the laminated lacustrine deposits. So there are deposits that are yearly, quite yearly events every year, a small layer with deposit that gives the structure that you can see. We have the same, and in this the picture above, we can see the two types of deposit that we found, quaternary deposit that we found in Bamako. Above, we have the fluvial deposit that is red. And in the below, we can see the lacustrine deposits. So we have those two main layers of quaternary deposit in the city. And here you can see clearly the two deposits. And what is interesting is that the fluvial deposits are just above the lacustrine deposit without any transition. That means the lake may be stopped catastrophically, and the river deposit came. So there is no transition between the two. We have found also in Bamako some pit layers in the different deposits that are interesting because we are trying to find if we can have some pollen data from these pit layers and try to reconstruct the quaternary environment from that. The history of the deposit, when I came back from China, I was just running down the city to have a look of these quaternary deposits, and construction workers has been digging, and I was following the construction workers to see what is below and try to characterize. And it is by chance that we came across the different evidences that I'm going to show you today. And we decided then to identify, record, and describe the different soft sediment structure that show evidence of quaternary seismicity, quaternary earthquake, and also to understand the process of deformation, and later to deduce the palaeo-seismic importance for the area. The method we use are specifically field methods. We try to make some measurement in the field about the direction of the formation and the size, the width, and so on. And also we had some pictures of the different structures. And secondly, we took some sample for grain size analysis and also heavy mineral analysis. But later we did some also dating of the different structures and lacustrine deposit to see if they are the same age. And we used OSL dating. The results show that in Bamako, we found some classic dikes. We found 3 classic dikes. I'm going to show you the pictures. We found also some fault and micro faults. We found some faults and some ball and pillow structures. Here we can see the first classic dike. The classic dike is just the yellowish layer, vertical layer that we have. In both sides of this classic dike, we have lacustrine silt deposits, but this dike is just crossing the beds. And when I saw it, I didn't want to believe first, because I've been told and I've been reading that the West African Craton is stable, so there is no tectonic activity. But when I saw it, I knew that this is the proof of earthquake. That means that an earthquake happened. And I tried to show the pictures to many geologists around the country, even in China, and people helped me to analyze and to find that it's from earthquake. And usually, this type of classic dike, when they form usually from the sands, the fine sands and coarse silts that are in the beds, the horizontal beds that we can see in the picture, and they try to move and comes up. We know it as the liquefaction of sand during earthquake. During earthquake, sand behave like a fluid, and sand grain try to come together and comes up. And that's how this type of classic dike are formed. And we found this first one, and later, this is the first one again, but this is the big picture for those who want to see it clearly, because in the first picture, we have some people standing to make the scale, but in the second one, there's nothing to, we can see it clearly. The vertical layer is well seen, and also the laminated silts, lacustrine silts also are well seen. I found a second one that is here in this picture. One of my students is standing, and we can see that it has quite the same structure that the first one I showed you. And also I found a third one in the same the same surrounding, about 5 to 7 kilometers from each other. So this is the third. So totally, I've found 3 classic dikes that shows the seismicity of the area. When we went size analysis, we took sample from the two face of the silt layers. So we take one sample in the right and one sample in the left, and also we took one sample from the classic dike. And when we did grain size analysis, we found that the two silt layers in the right and the left are quite the same. They have the same sources. That means that the grain.
Professor Dembele, you're breaking up. At the moment, I can't hear you. All right. I think he just lost a connection. So if it's okay, we just give him a moment to get back into the Zoom and then continue his presentation, if that's okay for everyone. Oh no, he's still here. He's still here. Professor Dembele, can you hear us?
Yeah, he seems to be there, but he's.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you are back. We can hear you again.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
When did you lose the signal?
I think just a few seconds after. If you go back to your presentation slide, I can tell you exactly. Exactly. This is the last slide I saw where you just pointed out that the upper two samples were pretty much the same.
Yes, the two sides of the silt layer are the same, and the plastic dike is quite different with 3 mods. You can see that there are 3 mods, and there are the remobilization of the sun, the defined sun, and quartz silts from the silt layers. And also, when we did heavy mineral analysis, we found also that the two silt layers are quite the same, and there are many composed of hematite and limonite. Those are opaque, very opaque heavy minerals, and they are usually the result of oxidation. That means that the sediments from the lacustrine layer are quite the same, and have been deposited and have known the same environment. But the classic dikes is quite different. We found that we have quite a great amount of zircon, and also many other heavy metals that are not present in the silt layers. I can understand that usually this difference comes from the fact that the sand, the fine sand and the quartz silts that contain the biggest part of the heavy metals have been remobilized and put into the classic dike. And we did some dating, OSL dating, and we found that the silt layer is about 280 Ka. The boundary between the fluvial deposit and the lacustrine deposit is about 170 Ka, and the classic dike is about 250 Ka. It means that when we try to date the classic dike, we didn't, in fact, date the classic dike. We dated the sediments inside the classic dike that has quite the same age than the age of the silt layers, meaning the earthquake event should be maybe very younger than those deposits, because the classic dike cross-cuts the silt layers and also the fluvial sand layer. So it's very young, but we didn't get now. I'm trying to think about how we are going to date the events, the earthquake events, because when we try to do OSL dating, we just got the age of the sediments that compose the classic dike, but not the age of the earthquake event. But it's younger than the lacustrine layer and younger also than the fluvial layer. And we know that the boundary between the fluvial layer and the lacustrine layer is about 170 Ka. We found also some faults and macro faults in the Quaternary deposits. Here in the left, we can see a fault line that goes up, and someone is standing to make the scale. You can see that this is an evidence of tectonic activity. In the right also, we can see a fault also line, and we can see some displacement of the two parts of the sediments, one side to the other one. Here we have a micro fault, a reverse fault that we can see. It's evident that one part has moved down, and this is also an evidence of tectonic activity. We have also found some faults, and the lacustrine deposits have been folded in a long distance. We can see it quite everywhere on the lacustrine deposit in Bamako. Some of the layer has been completely displaced, completely overflown. That means it has the earthquake that created this type of displacement is a big one. We have also seen some convolutions and bowl structures that you can see. The one in the right is just a zoom of what we have in the left is the zoom of what we can see in the right. It just the layers of the lacustrine deposit have been deformed to form a kind of circle. That's what we call bowl or convolution. In conclusion, I wanted to say that such sediment deformation of Quaternary deposit in Bamako bear evidences of Quaternary tectonic movement, and they are very recent. They are not very old. When we have a look at the dating, the dates that we got, they happen after 170 Ka, that's for sure, but the exact date is not known. And also we know from the size of the classic dike, because all the classic dike that we have are above 80 centimeters. That means the earthquake the earthquake happened in a radius of 20 kilometers. So the epicenter of the earthquake was not far from the classic dike. So it happened in the vicinity of Bamako. Also, we found that quite all the classic dike have east, northwest, and southwest east orientation. That means that the earthquake waves, the seismic waves that form them, should have been from the northeast to the southwest. And also, we found that the faults recorded in the alluvium are perpendicular to the fault. That means the earthquake have been, the fault have been following the direction of the earthquake waves. The results have two main implications. The first one is that we need now to question the stability of the West African Craton, because we have seen in the Quaternary deposit many evidences in Bamako that shows that we have got in the late Quaternary different earthquake events, maybe two main earthquake events. Also, if an earthquake occurred in the area during the Quaternary, that means it's possible in the future that an earthquake can occur. But in the literature and also in the politics of buildings and building infrastructures like bridges and houses in Mali, we are not taking account of the seismic activity, because everybody believes that the West African Craton is stable. To finish, I will say that we have also recorded some earthquake lately, but not in Bamako. But in Mali. There have been quite 4 to 5 earthquake events that have been recorded in the country. That means the West African stability should be really put into question, and also quaternary research can provide a very big contribution to the understanding of the stability of the Craton, and also to help understand what happened seismically on this West African Craton during the last, about the last 100,000 years of history. Thank you for your listening. I hope that everybody understood my poor English. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you very much, Professor Dembele. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful presentation, really exciting results. I would just open the floor for questions from everybody who's still here. So are there any questions for Professor Dembele right away? Yes.
I can kick us off if, yes.
She still has her hand up, so I would give it to her.
No worries. I mean, I can go after you, William. Thank you very much, Jacques. That was very interesting. And I found your English very good. I have the same accent, so. I was wondering, do you have any idea about the magnitude of these earthquakes? Do you have any rough guess?
Yes. I don't know, can I answer directly, or I will wait for people to ask questions and answer later?
No, we would just go one by one. So just answer her question, then we switch to the next person.
Okay. So when we take the width of the classic dike, usually when the classic dike is about 10 centimeters wide, it's about M6.5. In Bamako, we have about 80 centimeters of classic dike width. So I believe that we had earthquake above M7. That is quite sure. When we regard the size of the classic dike, we should have earthquake above M7.
That's a lot. Like, as someone who's lived in Taiwan and experienced 6.5, I have to say 7 is devastating. So I would hand over to Will next, since you were up next. And then there's a question in the chat. I'm going to read it out. So first we do Will, and then we do the question in the chat, okay?
Okay, yeah, following on from the question from Cecile, I think you said you'd found 3 of these dikes which indicate the high magnitude events. Do you think those are all happening as a result of the same event, like that formed all of them, or do you think this is 3 separate events that have occurred at different points in time? So do you have any idea on that yet?
Yes, I think that there are 2 different events. Okay. The first classic dike and the second classic dike are parallel. That means maybe they are from seismic events, because usually when they form, many can form, but they will be parallel. So those who are parallel are from the same event, but one has a different orientation, a different direction. So I believe now, from what I've seen for the moment, there have been 2 main earthquakes.
Okay. And what sort of area do they cover? Are they within the same sort of 20-kilometer radius, or is these 2 things that are like there's one over here and then it's a separate area? I just tried to get an idea of the spatial impact of these.
Yeah, the two first classic dikes are about 4 kilometers from one another, but the second one is closer to the first one. But I believe it's from a different earthquake.
Okay, so they're in the same sort of area.
Yeah.
No, very interesting.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to switch to the questions from the chat from Aliyu Adamu Isa. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. Please apologize. Here are 2 questions. What is the coverage of the seismic waves? And the second question is there any organic materials associated with the exposure?
I didn't understand his question, because the question is about the stratigraphic profile or the classic dikes. Because if he is speaking about the classic dike, we didn't find any organic material. Okay. Because first we found out there are faults, but if there are faults, I think that organic can come down inside the fault that has opened. But we didn't find any organic material. That means the classic dike have formed down up, not from up down.
Okay, perfect. And about the coverage of the seismic waves, is there anything you could say?
The coverage, for the moment, we know that it should be, from the literature, what we saw, it will be in the radius of 20 kilometers. That means, usually, I didn't go into this, the technical aspect. Usually, we should have some active faults in the area. There are some faults in Bamako that are still active. The deep-sitting faults that are active, but we don't know which one are active for the moment, because those quaternary earthquakes should be linked to some deep-sitting faults that are in the area, but we ignore what faults are active now.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope this answers the question. If not, you just write back into the chat and I'm happy to read it out. Are there any more questions from the people that are online? Cecile, I see your finger going up, so.
Yeah, sorry. I have another few questions actually. Do you know what kind of process would have triggered these earthquakes? So what kind of tectonic activity would have been responsible for that?
Yeah, that is a very tricky question, but I will try to answer because we know now that usually earthquake happens when we have deep-sitting faults. People have been thinking for a long time that earthquakes are associated with active margin. I mean, where we have tectonic plates meeting. But the biggest earthquake during maybe the last 20 years have happened along the deep-sitting fault, not the active margins. So I have been thinking that the process that's involved here is maybe linked to WAQUA, but we don't know for now which are those faults. We need to find them.
Can I ask another question?
Go for it.
But it's more related to the sediments that you described, and I think you mentioned it once when I gave a talk about the Nile and these very fine laminations we had. And I think you mentioned already that you had these very nicely laminated sediments. And I was wondering if you have any more, just a bit of a, I know it's not the topic of your talk, but I was very intrigued by the sediments you showed.
I didn't hear the first part of your question because
I will
quite
sure I will repeat. It's the last time I presented some results on some laminated sediments as well from the Nile River, and I think you mentioned that you have in Mali these very nice laminated sediments as well.
Yes.
And therefore, I am very intrigued about I'm very happy to see the outcrops and everything, and I wanted to know if you could tell us a little bit more about it.
Yes. You know what I found goes far more than what I've presented, because actually people think that the Niger River is old, is a very old river in Bamako, but I've found that the Niger River didn't exist before. Bamako, the area of Bamako was a lake, a paleo-lake. That's why we have this big Quaternary limestone deposit, this palaeo-lake deposit. The palaeo-lake deposit is about 40 meters thick. And I think that the Niger River used to be two different rivers. One from Guinea that stopped in Bamako in a lake, and the second from Koulikoro to the northern part of Mali. And it is maybe those earthquakes that opened the Sea of Sotiba, the Doloris Sea of Sotiba, and linked the two parts of the river coming from the Guinea and the river going toward the north, and the lake has been, the water of the lake has been transferred to the river. That's why I believe there is no type of transition between the lacustrine and the fluvial deposit. When you see I showed you the picture, you can see that there is no type of transition. It's just the fluvial deposit just came directly on the lacustrine deposit. So there has been a catastrophic event that make the lake maybe overflown, crossed over the dike of Sotiba, and the two parts of the Niger River has linked. So if we now try to make a kind of inference, we would say that the Niger River now as we know, used to be 3 different rivers that came together to form the biggest Niger River that we have today. And it should have happened around 170 kA, 170 kA.
It is super interesting. I think there's a lot to do there. I will ask you more, but perhaps later, because I have to take care of my daughter who is next to me.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, perfect. Are there more questions?
I think Alfred has a question.
Yes, Alfred, go ahead.
Good afternoon,
Someone is-
everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm sorry I have not followed very well the presentation. I come back very later. I'm sorry, but I get well about the explanation of the presentator. He told that there maybe Niger River does not exist by the past, I think. And I want to ask, maybe, is it due to this river maybe appeared at the time the terrestrial globe tilt, because they told about tilt of the Earth, when the Earth go back the north, and we have a retirement of the Atlantic Ocean in the Gulf of Guinea. Maybe is it at this period? Je ne sais pas si vous parlez le français.
Oui.
Est-ce que c'est peut-être lié au basculement du globe terrestre d'il y a 300 millions d'années?
Non, en fait,
l'apparition du fleuve Niger, au fait. Parce que je comprends dans votre explication de tout à l'heure que le fleuve Niger n'aurait peut-être pas existé depuis des années et que ça s'est apparu après. Je me demande si c'est peut-être pas lié au basculement du globe d'il y a 300 millions d'années. Parce qu'il y a beaucoup de phénomènes que je constate au Bénin qui me paraissent être vraiment, surtout le Dahomey Gap, être un phénomène lié au basculement du globe. Voilà. Je peux reprendre légèrement là, soit vous pouvez réexpliquer pour que les autres nous comprennent. Moi, je suis Alfred Rouillon du Bénin.
Okay, maybe I will answer in English or in French. So what he asked is about the birth of the Niger River. I cannot say anything about the birth of the Niger River because I think some research are going on. But what I know from the deposit I saw in Bamako means that the river that we see today was not the one that existed before. It was different parts of river. One part coming from Guinea, but stopping in Bamako. Because the palaeo-lake in Bamako show really that there has been water for quite some time, from about 1 billion years, and because we didn't go down to the boundary between the Quaternary deposit and the older deposits yet. So if we go to that, we will know for sure what things happen gradually. What we know now, what I know now is the Niger River coming from Guinea used to stop at Bamako, and there was a lake in Bamako. And after Bamako, there was another part of the Niger River that goes to the area of Timbuktu. And we know from the literature that it has been also a river piracy in the area. The river coming from the Adrar of Iforas, called the Chilemsi, also have captured the over part coming from Timbuktu. So we have 2 captured now of the Niger River, one at Bamako and the second at Gao in the area of the northern part of Mali. So the Niger River has been connecting different parts of rivers together. And when you come to Bamako, you will see the Seuil of Sotiba, that is a dolorite seal. And before, the Niger River could not cross the seal. And I think that it is the earthquakes that happen, that have been recorded in the Quaternary sediments, that is the trigger to the connection of the two parts of the river to make the Niger River we have today. Is he still online?
Stephanie, you're muted.
Right.
Is he still online?
I think Alfred just kind of like dropped out. But I'm sure you'll be right back. He just has internet connections issues, I think. In the meantime, since we're on the topic of the development of the Niger River, which I think is super interesting, there is a question in the chat from Aliyu, who also has the hands up. But it's a question of whether or not your study findings have been published. Is there a publication we could go to, or we could read up on this, on the development?
But we didn't, for now, I didn't publish the paper yet because I've been alone working, and I've been trying to reach some people. And what I did is that I have built up a laboratory for quaternary research here in Mali. We have quite some equipment, and we have also opened a master degree in quaternary research. And we have our first students that will graduate in maybe 6 months. And I think that we can try to analyze more those deposits and try to make more publication. But the deposits are here, especially what I showed, the deposit that is about 70 meters is quite a lot. We have a lot of information that can be found in this deposit. If some people are interested, we are also interested to collaborate in some kind of joint research and try to do multi-proxy research on those deposits, because someone can maybe work on phytoliths, someone can work on grain size, someone can work on heavy minerals, and we try to put things together and understand what happened. But it's a very huge stratigraphic profile that I need to analyze. But for the moment, I'm alone here in Mali. So if someone is interested, we can do the work together.
This is great. No, I think this is wonderful. And it's really enticing, your findings. It's really, really interesting. Are there more questions? I don't want to cut people off from more questions. So anyone else? No, I don't see any more hands for now. Then I would throw in a last question, because I'm amazed by the fact that there is this general idea of the stability of the West African Craton. Has there not been any super strong magnitude earthquake like in the last 100 years that would still be kind of like recorded, like in historical records, that could pinpoint that these really heavy earthquakes occurred also in the past? I just feel baffled that there's no recording of this whatsoever, like nothing. It hasn't occurred in the last 100 years or 200 years or something like that.
Those events, they are really random. They are really random. And we have had some earthquakes on the Craton, as I told you. We have had an earthquake in Ogene, Côte d'Ivoire, 3 or 4 in Mali, but we didn't have one in Bamako. That's what we are afraid of, because if we found those type of evidences, it means that it can happen again. But when? Because it's quite random. It can happen in 1 year, 1,000 year, 1 billion, 1 million year. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. That is why we are quite afraid.
No,
and for Gosling, who is really interested in ecology, Gosling, in the stratigraphic profile that I have shown you, I found that we have many pit layers, and they come cyclically. You have about 2 meters of sediments, one about 20 centimeters of pit layer, 2 meters of sediment, 20 centimeters, and so on, from from down above.
Wow.
It should be interesting to study this cyclical event. It's very cyclical. It's very, when you look at it, it's cyclical. It's like sediments, pit layer, sediment, pit layer, sediment, pit layer.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if you're sitting on some sort of processional cycle there.
That would be my first thought as well. That this, I would have to like if I can see a nice profile picture or something, I could like from experience tell you whether or not it's a chance of that, because I've seen all these depositions from the Mediterranean and stuff. But this sounds extremely like it's an orbital signal, this kind of.
Yeah. And
it's very repetitive. So
the lacustrine signal you said ran from about 280,000 years ago to about 170,000 years ago.
Yes, but the one that we dated is about 1.2 million to 170.
Yeah. So that includes fluvial and lacustrine deposits.
No, the boundary between fluvial and lacustrine deposit is about 170.
Okay, and so everything beneath that 170 back to 1 million years ago or so is all lacustrine deposits? So before 170,000 years ago, back to maybe 1 million years ago, you have mainly or totally lacustrine deposits? Is that
we
correct?
have totally.
Wow.
Totally lacustrine deposits. And I believe that the profile that I showed you with the pit deposits are maybe the exutory of a river that runs into the lake.
Yeah.
When there is moisture and the climate become very humid, we have sediments that are depositing. And later, when the climate becomes to dry up, we can see this time of alternation of season, dry season and wet season that makes the pit layer. Because during the dry season, it means that during the wet season, we have water coming into the lake. During the dry season, there's no water and vegetation will grow. Grass and those type of vegetation will grow inside the lake. And when water comes at the beginning of the rainy season, water will cover up all the grass, why we have those pit layers. So we have been having very humid periods and also very dry period.
Can you help me again? How, like, its thickness? How much meters are we talking for this lacustrine, for the entire lacustrine sequence? How much is that?
Is in some area we have 40 meters. And the one that I show you is about 70 meters.
So 70 meters for basically 1 million years worth of lacustrine sediments.
Yeah, but the upper part has quite, yes, I believe, but I'm not quite sure because the upper part has been altered to recast because of the climate now. So I don't really know what was inside. We need to do more analysis to know if it's the fluvial deposit that has been altered to the recast or it is lacustrine deposit that has been altered. But the work has to be done.
So from through the time period where you have the lake there, do you think that the climate was wetter than it is today, or is it just that the water was being captured in a different way?
I think that the climate maybe was wetter.
Okay.
Means that there has been more water coming into the lake.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. all what I was saying are hypotheses.
Mm.
We cannot talk now for sure.
Now, but this is really fascinating. Like this seems to be a really amazing, like a stream record you're sitting on.
I mean, even just thinking about your publications, even we're obviously and going to plug the special issue now. So we currently have the Mapping Ancient Africa special issue open. Even if you wanted to put together just a couple of page summary, like putting this deposit on the map, so that other people know about it, I'm sure the editors might be interested in that. So so I don't know if it's possible just a map with some photos saying very simply, like, this is the sequence, we have these dates, and some photographs, and even if like a full study is not ready yet, it might be nice to think about if we could include something in there. The Mapping Ancient Africa Network is designed to sort of showcase a chance, and it might be a good way to put this on the map and build other collaborations and reach other scientists. I mean, I'm certainly interested to think with you about these sediments and what could be done with them, and I'm sure other people would be, if we can, and maybe this is an opportunity to showcase that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I just throw that out to you. You don't have to take us up on it, but I just plugging the idea.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to do. You know, I've been really struggling from the beginning because people didn't believe what I was saying. You know, lately, about 3 months ago, after the earthquake in Morocco, a local TV station came to me and asked me if an earthquake is possible in Bamako. I said, okay, from what I've found, there could be an earthquake, because if it happened in the past, it can happen again. So it has been a very, very big discussion in Mali, very big debate. People have been calling me, geologists have been calling me, you are lying, what you are saying is not true, it cannot happen, the West African Craton is stable. So I've been going through that. When I went to AGU in 2015, I brought the evidences and I tried to discuss with some scholars about it, but nobody tried really to accept that the West African Craton is not stable. But this year, the IGC I think it will happen in Korea. They have opened a session called intraplate seismicity. It means that people started now to accept that inside the plates there could be earthquakes. That is also a big progress for people accepting that the Craton are not as stable as we used to think.
No, this is wonderful. I really like to second what Will just said. Like, if there's any chance you could pull something together. The special issue just opened, so it's still onwards until July 30th. So if there's any chance you can pull together what you have, basically just to put out some idea or to get the sequences on the map, we would be happy to try to do the best we can within the framework of the special issue to accommodate that.
I have a paper already, a paper ready. I've submitted to the journal, you know, but they gave it to a structural geologist, and he said, no, that is not possible. So the paper was refused.
Well, if you want to run it past here, it will obviously have to go through the peer review process, of course, for the thing. But if you're interested to try that route, then we'll certainly give it serious consideration.
Okay, I will try to send it to you. I will make some kind of review of it and put inside the new findings that I have, and I will send it to you.
Yep. And also to other people that are out there who are maybe listening, who have got a paper just waiting to be to be published on African quaternary science, then also consider the special issue.
Yes. If you need any information on the special issue, contact me, contact Will. You can also contact Rahab Kanjaji. We are like the 3 handling editors for the special issue, so just get in touch. We're happy to hear about your ideas or whatever you have on the table. We'll try to help you as much as we can to facilitate these kind of publications. With that, I think we are perfectly in time. I really like, if there's no urgent question anymore, then I would cut down our seminar talk for today. I would really like to thank you, Professor Dembele, for this wonderful talk, this really nice discussion afterwards. I think these are really exciting data coming out of your work, and I'm very much looking forward to reading about it and hearing more about it in the future. So with that said, we will see each other in June. I will send reminders on the next talk, which will be by Solène, on lithic findings in Northern Africa for the last about 20,000 years, I believe. So this is very exciting new talk coming up in June. I'll send the information around. The Mapping Ancient Africa special issue is open if you want to join. And if you have any further questions or anything else you'd like to address, just get in touch with us. So thank you again very much, Professor Dembele, and thank you everybody else for joining us online this afternoon. Have a good evening or good morning, depending on where you are. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.